Hi folks, Peter Lemieux. I'm going to do a session we call Rounding Third for Batter Sports, where I remember baseball stories. Now, right now what I want to talk about is bad trades. Previously, I had listed the 5 worst trades in my mind. I had actually made 10 worst trades, and I'm going to finish my list today. I'm going to be doing numbers 10 through 6. These trades are so bad they could easily be in anybody's top 5. If you have other trades that you want to mention where your heart was broken because you gave away a great player or you stole a great player, remember it to us. We'd love to hear from it. I want to comment that I'm wearing the new Batter Sports hat with the bag that goes over the head of an embarrassed fan because their team is so bad or so underperforming. That's why we chose that for Batter Sports, and really proud to be wearing that. Right now, let's talk about the trades that I wanted to mention to you. As I said before, I actually chose 10 bad trades. Now I'm going to give you numbers 10 through 6. Overwhelmingly horrible trades. Let's start off with number 10, between the Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers were in search of a middle reliever, and they had their eyes on a fellow by the name of Josh Fields of the Astros. Even though Fields had a 6.89 ERA the prior year, the Dodgers traded for him, and they got 3 decent years out of Josh Fields. 3 seasons with the Dodgers, every year his earned run average was under 3. He was a middle reliever. Over 3 years, he accumulated 4 saves. The problem with the trade is who they gave up. They gave up a minor league Cuban player whose name is Yordan Alvarez. Yes. Now, if you don't know who he is, this guy is a monster. He's only 25 years old. He's playing in his 5th season, has already over 100 home runs. This season, due to an injury, he's only played in 50 of the 80 games, but in those 50 games, he has 17 home runs and 55 RBIs in 50 games. This guy is a tremendous offensive weapon. He's only 25 years old. He's already had home run seasons of 27, 33, and 37. This guy is a superstar, a potential Hall of Famer that the Dodgers gave up for somebody called Josh Fields. That's my number 10. Number 9 is kind of a similar deal. The Chicago White Sox really wanted a good starter, and they eyed a fellow by the name of James Shields on the Padres. They traded for James Shields, and they got 3 horrible years out of it. 4-12, 5-7, 7-16, ERAs of 6.77, 5.23, 4.53, 3 completely horrible years. Now, is it worked out? They gave up a guy named Eric Johnson who only pitched for a year for the Padres, 9.85 ERA, and he was out of baseball. It's the last guy that's a problem. For 3 bad years of James Shields, they gave up a player by the name of Fernando Tatis. Yes, that Fernando Tatis, who, like Alvarez, is very young. He is only 24. He did get suspended and missed all of last year, but prior to that, he had hit 42 home runs. He's got a 288 lifetime batting average and is projected to be one of the great stars of baseball in the future. The White Sox gave him away for 3 horrible years of James Shields. The next trade is a little further back in history, between the Cardinals and the Mets. The Cardinals wanted this pretty good relief pitcher the Mets had by the name of Neil Allen, and the Mets threw in a guy by the name of Rick Ownby. Ownby only played 1 year, didn't win a game for the Cardinals. Neil Allen was a pretty good pitcher. 10-6, 9-6. First year he had an ERA of 3.70, then 3.55. The last year he fell off. But they got two pretty good years out of Neil Allen. What they gave up is a good player they had that they had given up on. His name was Keith Hernandez. The Mets got Keith Hernandez basically for Neil Allen. Keith Hernandez immediately made the Mets a contender for 7 straight years. They won 1 world championship. He was stellar on defense. Just unqualified, the best defensive first baseman in the league. In his 7 years with the Mets, he batted over 300 4 times, and 2 times he batted 277, 296. So basically a 300 hitter, consistently had RBIs in the 80s and 90s, and had this amazing defense and made the Mets into a serious contender for 7 straight years. Let's not forget that Keith Hernandez also got a stint on the Jerry Seinfeld show. But the Mets literally stole him from the Cardinals for Neil Allen. My final 2, number 7, I rated this one. The Diamondbacks had a young pitcher that they didn't think was going to make it. So they unloaded him to the Detroit Tigers for Ian Kennedy and Edwin Jackson. Edwin Jackson pitched a half a year, got traded. Edwin Jackson, I think, has played for every major league team, exaggerating only slightly. But Ian Kennedy, they also picked up, was a really good pitcher for the Diamondbacks. He had 4 good seasons with 48 wins. 1 year, he had 21 wins and an ERA of 2.88. So the Diamondbacks got a good pitcher for 4 years. The problem is what they gave up. The young pitcher they weren't confident in was Max Scherzer. Scherzer pitched for 5 years on the Tigers. In 2013, he was 21-3 with a 2.98 ERA, a Cy Young Award. Since then, he has won 2 more Cy Young Awards. He's pitched 2 no-hitters, won a World Series with the Nationals. He's had a 20 strikeout game and a 300 strikeout season. That's quite a bit of production to give up for Ian Kennedy and Edwin Jackson. So I rate that as one of the worst trades. I got it at number 7. Finally, the last one I'm going to do today is classic. A lot of people have this as the number 1. I got it as number 6. Chicago Cubs wanted a starting pitcher, and they had their eyes on a fellow by the name of Ernie Broglio of the Cardinals. Now, Broglio was a good starting pitcher for the Cardinals. He gave them a lot of innings. He was consistent. He once won 21 games. So in 1964, the Cubs made the move to get Ernie Broglio. The problem is he only pitched 3 seasons for the Cubs, winning a total of 7 games in 3 years. He was over the hill when they got him. He was burned out. The other big problem was who they gave up. They gave up a young outfielder by the name of Lou Brock. Okay, folks, Lou Brock is in the Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame. He played 16 seasons for the Cardinals. Listen to this. 938 stolen bases, second only to Rickey Henderson. 1 year, he stole 116 bases. Career batting average of 294. 6 consecutive seasons of over 190 hits. A 6-time All-Star. A 391 World Series batting average. Highest for anyone who's played over 20 games in the World Series. He stole 14 bases in a World Series. That's a record. He has 13 hits in a World Series to tie a record. All that for Ernie Broglio, who won a total of 7 games. The St. Louis Cardinals got one of the greatest players in their history, first ballot Hall of Famer Lou Brock. That is a horrible trade for Chicago and a huge one for the Cardinals. So in summary, my 5 this year, today, the Cardinals won 1 and they lost 1. They got ripped off in trading away Keith Hernandez, but they got a real bonus when they got Hall of Famer Lou Brock from the Cubs. Well, those are my number 10 through number 6. Like to hear your comments on them. And as always, have a great day. Come back and see us again at Batter Sports. This is Peter Lemieux, and we'll talk to you later.